Reaction to a shooting that happened in September.
District 30 State Representative Jeannie Morrison says she will not seek re-election. And authorities are investigating a string of suspicious envelopes that were delivered to election offices across several states.
We are waiting for the cold front that should be moving through Victoria within the next hour or so. You'll feel that north wind beginning to pick up. Had some really good rain today, over 1.5 inches. How much more will we get, and how cold will it get this weekend? I'll have all that coming up.
And we have all the scores from tonight's playoff games. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
District 30 State Representative Jeannie Morrison, the longest serving Republican woman in the Texas House, announced today she is not running for re-election. Representative Morrison is serving her 13th term in the Texas legislature. District 30 includes DeWitt, Goliad, Jackson, Lavaca, Matagorda, and Victoria counties. For this legislative session, Morrison was appointed to serve on 3 House committees. In 1999, Morrison authored the country's first Baby Moses legislation, which provides desperate mothers a responsible alternative to newborn abandonment. Representative Morrison put out this statement, quote, "Serving the people of House District 30 has been the highest professional privilege of my life. I look forward to completing my current term on behalf of the wonderful community that I am blessed to call home," unquote.
A Texas House committee advanced a controversial border security bill Thursday that would allow state law enforcement officers to enforce immigration law. KXAN reports House Bill 4 would make it a state crime for non-citizens to cross into the United States illegally. It's a power currently reserved for federal law enforcement agencies like Border Patrol, but the legislation would give any state peace officer the ability to arrest someone who enters Texas illegally. A Wharton man faces a murder charge in connection with the September shooting death of a Waxahachie man. The Bay City Tribune reports authorities caught 44-year-old Richard Adrell Allen. The body of 46-year-old Larry Henderson Jr. was found on September 5th outside Bay City. Allen was charged with murder and is at the Matagorda County Jail in lieu of $1 million bond.
A woman indicted on 11 counts of animal cruelty was expected in court today, but she did not show up because she was ill. 55-year-old Terry Ellis has a new court date of February 23rd. The incident happened last December.
Her co-defendant is 42-year-old Carissa Salinas. She also faces 11 counts of animal cruelty. She was in court today and is expected back January 29th. A Victoria County grand jury indicted both women on April 13th, and 25 News Now reached out to their attorneys for comment.
Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Okay, Mac, we've had the rain. We've had a lot of rain, but when do we get the cold?
I think that by tomorrow morning you're going to feel it because the wind is going to shift, and then slowly but surely the colder air is going to drift in. We are reporting a north wind at 10 miles an hour. It could be the front or the back end of a storm, but it's 69 right about now after getting up to 79. But tomorrow's high temperature forecast to be about 60, 62. We had 1.23 out at the airport, 1.56 out at Riverside, so it was a good rain already. The problem is it's going to last all weekend, so we'll talk more about it coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Here's your Bureau poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote. The question is, are you prepared for Friday's weather? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 88% say yes and 12% stand at no. We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. One person is dead and several other people are in the hospital following a multi-vehicle crash near El Paso Wednesday night. At least 7 vehicles were involved in the crash. Several of them caught fire. One person died at the scene, and 7 of the victims involved are expected to recover, while one person has serious injuries. The cause of the crash is unknown.
An Israeli flag was ripped from a home in North Dallas and captured on video. Rabbi Jack Rubin says he heard the shouting outside his home around 7 p.m. last night. Now, in the video, a man wearing a traditional Middle Eastern headdress yanked off Rubin's Israeli flag and yelled in Arabic, quote, "Long live free Palestine," unquote. Rubin said he reported the theft as a hate crime and has since replaced the flag with another Jewish flag, placing it higher up on the property.
You're going on in many in the Jewish community, but then there's the second feeling of resilience, and the fact that right away my feeling right then at the time was I got my gun and I put it on, which I carried for the rest of the night. I don't always carry. And then the second thing was making sure that the flag goes back up.
He also mentions the goal is not to undermine the loss of lives in Gaza, but rather advocate for the removal of Hamas as a step toward achieving peace. Dallas police say the incident is under investigation as a theft. However, a hate crime detective is assigned to the case.
A Dallas County jury found Nestor Hernandez guilty of capital murder this afternoon. KXAS reports Hernandez killed 2 Dallas Methodist Medical Center employees, social worker Jacqueline Pacua and nurse Annette Flowers, while visiting his girlfriend in the hospital's labor and delivery unit. Since he was convicted of capital murder, Hernandez was automatically sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality is monitoring the air quality following a massive fire at the Sound Resource Solutions plant that prompted evacuations and a shelter-in-place order near Houston Wednesday. KPRC reports the TCEQ sent mobile air monitoring units to the area that will continue to monitor the air throughout the night and into Friday. Authorities say the fire started from a forklift incident. The forklift operator was burned and taken to the hospital, but is recovering. Several agencies are investigating after potentially hazardous materials were found at a state office building in downtown Austin. This happened at the William P. Clements building on West 15th Street today around 9:20 a.m. The DPS tells KXAN there was an envelope with substance, their words, under investigation. The DPS reports all tests came back negative, although it's not clear what tests they ran. 3 patients were decontaminated but were sent to a hospital for evaluation.
The FBI has expanded their investigation into a batch of envelopes containing potentially dangerous substances that were sent to election facilities in at least 5 states coast to coast.
Now, these suspicious letters were discovered in states like Washington, Georgia, and Oregon.
Federal authorities investigating suspicious letters sent to election offices in at least 5 states, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, and Georgia, prompting evacuations at several election offices across the country just days after ballots were cast. ABC News obtaining a copy of one of the letters calling to, quote, "end elections now." The FBI says some envelopes tested positive for the potentially deadly substance of fentanyl, while in other envelopes the substance was baking powder.
As I sat down for my own batch to open up, the fire alarm went off. Immediately we knew that something was going on.
In Georgia, officials warning election workers to take precautions when handling mail after intercepting the suspicious envelopes sent to the Fulton County election facility, even equipping election workers with Narcan, as just a tiny amount of fentanyl can be fatal. State leaders calling this domestic terrorism.
You know, some people like to call fentanyl a drug, but it's actually poison. It'll kill you. It'll kill you very quickly, very easily, and it's very dangerous.
The discovery delaying some vote counting in states. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Shannon Martin is running for Victoria County Commissioner in Precinct 3. Martin has served the Victoria Fire Department for more than 35 years, rising from firefighter to the current position of interim fire chief. Martin is active in organizations like the Victoria Livestock Show, and he served on the local Emergency Planning Commission. He retires from the VFD at the end of January. Incumbent Commissioner Gary Burns is not seeking re-election. Victoria police worked this 2-car crash around 8 a.m. today at Nueces Street and Navarro. Officers say a black Nissan and gray SUV collided. The SUV rolled. 2 people were trapped inside the SUV, and emergency workers had to use Jaws of Life's equipment to rescue them. Police say it appears the SUV failed to yield the right-of-way. The crash is still under investigation, and both people in the SUV were taken to the hospital.
Mortgage rates tumbled this week, and the biggest one-week drop since last November. It's the second week the rates have decreased after rising for 7 consecutive weeks. Data from Freddie Mac shows the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage fell to an average of 7.5% in the week ending November 9th.
A 3-decade death row inmate is expected to face execution for murder after losing a clemency appeal this week. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune at our CrossroadsToday.com website.
And we have an update to that story. A brewer was executed tonight in Huntsville. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. A former assistant of actor Robert De Niro was awarded over $1 million in a gender discrimination lawsuit. That's coming up on 25 News Now at 10.
Also ahead, a new weight loss drug is expected to hit the market after Thanksgiving. Jury awarded more than $1.2 million to Robert De Niro's former personal assistant. Graham Chase Robinson was at the center of an August 2019 lawsuit filed by De Niro's company. The suit claims she watched hours of Netflix shows while working and inappropriately used her employees' fund for personal gain. In response, Robinson filed a countersuit. She claims she was subjected to sexual harassment and discrimination because of her gender. De Niro's company will make 2 payments of over $600,000 to Robinson.
Zepbound is the latest weight loss drug that was approved by the FDA.
It has the same active ingredients as the diabetes drug Mounjaro, with 1/3 of people in one clinical trial losing around 60 pounds when taking the highest dose.
A new weight loss drug will be hitting the market soon. Zepbound has now received approval by the FDA, and with the majority of Americans considered either obese or overweight, many doctors believe it could be a game changer.
When you have 70% of the population who's overweight or obese, that's how significant it is.
The FDA cleared Zepbound for adults who are obese or overweight and have at least one weight-related condition like high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. It should be used along with a low-calorie diet and exercise. The drug's active ingredient is tirzepatide. It's the same that's used in the type 2 diabetes drug Mounjaro. In recent years, the FDA has also approved Wegovy for weight loss, which has a similar active ingredient to another diabetes drug, Ozempic. However, Zepbound works slightly differently.
Targets 2 hormones, whereas Ozempic really works on one that increase the feeling of fullness, decrease hunger, slows the GI tract.
The FDA's decision opens the door to possibly having the drug covered by insurance. Heather Winterstein of Brooklyn, Mississippi says she lost 92 pounds over 11 months using Mounjaro off-label. She initially received a discount from the manufacturer, but once that promotion ran out, her insurance didn't cover it.
It was literally heartbreaking to lose the coverage for that because it not only changed my weight, but it literally changed my health.
And Eli Lilly says it's working with insurance companies and employers to get Zepbound covered through insurance. It's expected to hit shelves sometime after Thanksgiving. With insurance, it can cost as little as $25, without around $500 per month. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
Gas prices across Texas are going down. AAA Texas reports the average gallon of regular unleaded fuel is $2.86, the lowest gas price average in the U.S. That number is 31 cents less per gallon compared to a year ago. AAA Texas reports the average gas price in Victoria is $2.73 a gallon. That's down 5 cents from a week ago and 43 cents lower than 1 month ago. AAA says crude oil prices dropping are leading to a drop in retail gasoline prices. A new survey is providing more insight into the types of schedules people prefer.
But experts are saying a 4-day work week may not be suitable for everyone.
Once considered a fantasy, more and more companies are experimenting with the 4-day work week, testing what's always been the norm.
There were obviously benefits for sort of individuals in the sense of having more time for family, rest and recovery.
But the benefits don't stop with the employees.
Having those boundaries really encourages companies to think about their processes, make them work more effectively, and make them more resilient and sustainable organizations.
When people were asked how different options would impact their well-being at work, 77% of U.S. workers said a 4-day, 40-hour work week would have a positive impact, according to a new Gallup survey. But experts say those 10-hour days could lead to burnout.
It's a question of, do you like a 3-day weekend more than you hate 10-hour work days?
The COVID-19 pandemic forced employers to embrace work from home and hybrid options. But now economic uncertainty is leading large companies to order their employees to return to the office. So would a 4-day work week ever be embraced by the corporate world?
We've seen a divergence between the largest companies really doubling down against flexibility over the past few months, but flexibility is still thriving among smaller and mid-sized businesses that are using that benefit, and flexibility is a benefit, as a way to attract workers who wouldn't necessarily consider them otherwise.
3% of children entering kindergarten during the 2022 to 2023 school year were granted a vaccine exemption from their state, which is the highest exemption rate ever reported in the U.S. 40 states saw rises in exemptions. However, the report did not go into detail on the reasons for the increase, but experts suggest the findings reflect Americans' growing unease about medicine. In the Victoria ISD, the latest data from 2019 reports only 7 kindergarten students had vaccine exemptions.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at the current temperatures around South Texas, and you can see we're at 68, Corpus Christi still 73. Frontal system is right about here, so it'll be turning through the neighborhood within the next hour or so, and you'll feel that north wind by the morning. We're getting down into the 50s tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow's highs, well, we'll talk about that coming up in a moment. Well, let's go back a little bit. I started talking about this frontal system when it was in Washington State about 5 days ago. It's finally here, and it's finally brought us a big change in the weather. Obviously, you saw the rain that came through a little earlier this evening and afternoon. We did get over 1.5 inches. This is pretty significant for the first pass of this. I believe this is the heaviest day. At this hour, though, the heaviest stuff is actually down in, well, let's see, in Nueces County and south down toward Falfurrias, where they had a little flooding out there because, you know, now we don't get rain. We get downpours because of all the heat energy in the atmosphere. Now the temperatures will be dropping. Yes, sirree. The next few days will stay around 60 degrees. And I think you're going to need a coat when you get out of the house in the morning. And certainly, you know, you're going to have to convince the dog to go outside. And we're no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Here's this map I wanted to show you because even as far south as the tropics, you can see how the westerly winds here are sweeping everything up into our area. So basically what we had over us was the remnants of what used to be a couple of tropical storms down south. That is going over us. That's why we had the heavy rain. For the next couple of days, it's going to be a little different. Let's go through Future Tracker. This is Thursday night. Tomorrow morning, it says we're going to have a little bit of a break. Then Friday afternoon, more rain rolls into the area. And you can see how everything keeps going in this direction, and that's subtropical moisture moving up into our region. So we're going to have, shall we say, cloudy skies, cool north winds, light to moderate rain showers. I call it that a winter rain. I mean, it's not going to be huge, severe downpours. It certainly won't be anything severe. We actually had a little bit thunder and lightning earlier this afternoon when the storms down south dropped much heavier rainfall. There you see Victoria, which is probably in the 1 to 2 inch range, but 3 to 4 inches of rain fell down here. There's Bloomington all the way down to about the Refugio area. So they got the heaviest as of today. Now we're going to watch to see what happens over the next 4 days because this is a 4-day winter blast. Okay, it's not a winter blast, but it's, you know, going to be cold and chilly. Tonight, we're getting down to about 57 as a low. Tomorrow, we're only going to get up to 62 as a high temperature, so that's about it. And we're going to hover there for about 4 days with the overcast skies, the northerly winds, and of course, the frontal system that will be passing through overnight. By tomorrow, it'll be way down in Brownsville, and we get this overrunning pattern. We've got the cool air at the surface, the Pacific air riding up on top of it, and we get this overcast and kind of cool, drizzly stuff. Now, this is not a snow maker. This is not an ice maker. In fact, even in the Panhandle, they'll still be in the 50s in the afternoons, but we're going to be in the low 60s right on through. And as we get all the way to Sunday, we really are not out of the woods yet. So the interesting pattern is that this is kind of a stuck pattern for a few days. So, you know, if you want some sunshine, you should have thought about it last weekend. 62 and then 62. So that's going to be a short thermometer tomorrow. We're looking cloudy skies. I don't know why it says mostly sunny. I have to shoot that. But rain for the rest of the day. And then for Cuero, we're looking at shower activity all day long, only getting up to 61. Now, on Sunday, Saturday, 70%, 50% on Sunday, 50% on Monday. We won't see the sun till Tuesday of next week. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Gino with a very busy night in football.
Yep, it's busy, and also the final athlete of the week before the postseason started helped bring home a district title. We hear from him after the break. At Crossroads, here are the scores from tonight's by-district round of playoffs. The Edna Cowboys get a victory tonight, beating Rio Hondo 49-10. The Cowboys will play Jourdanton in the next round of playoffs. Well, the Refugio Bobcats won handedly 62-0 and will either play Johnson City or Schulenburg in the area round. The Ganado Indians take care of business and win 55-6, and they will take on Thrall or Mason in round 2. In Class 2A, the Louise Hornets season comes to an end, falling 63-21 to the Chilton Pirates. The Pirates will play Agua Dulce or Center Point next week. The Yorktown Wildcats lose the Battle of the Bidcats, losing 55-0. The winner will play Sabinal in the next round. The Goliad Tigers take care of business. This one ended about 5 minutes ago, beating the Fighting Jerseys, and will play either Hondo or Cole next, 63-12 in the final in that one. This game was a battle, but Industrial came out on top with a final score of 49-20. They will take on Randolph next week. Yoakum Bulldogs offense could not get going, and they fall to Lorena 45-7. The Tidehaven Tigers continue to dominate, but they did allow some points tonight, score 63-6, and they'll take on Santa Rosa or Dilley next week. Cuero will move on, but did not dominate like most of people thought. 24-3 was the final, and they'll play Royal or Hampshire Fannett next week. And on Calhoun, they take their way to the district title game and win, and fullback Jace Campos had a big game. Here's sports reporter Zach Brown with the Athlete of the Week.
The regular season wrapped up last week, and the Calhoun Sand Crabs accomplished something that hadn't been done in a few years, and that is win a district championship. And it was extra special. They were able to do it at home.
I haven't been able to play for district championship, so playing for district championship and being able to win meant a lot to me, and just meant a lot for me and my team.
The Sand Crabs run a triple option and fed Campos throughout the night, and although he had a great game, he knows what made a special night possible.
You know, I wouldn't be able to do that without my line. My line, they blocked incredible for me, and Alex, my quarterback, he put the ball where it needs to be, so it wasn't all me, it was all them too. It was my teammates, and I couldn't do it without them.
Not only did he give his guys credit for his big nights, he sacrificed a lot as well. Head coach Richard Whitaker is proud of the team-first decision Jace Campos was willing to make.
Jace is a special kid to me because Jace had been playing quarterback his whole life, and last year midway through the season, or actually past midway, I asked him to change positions to go to fullback, and he, yes sir, and he has done nothing but excel at that position and made us a lot better football team.
Calhoun football has been my ride or die for the last 3 years. It's just a whole nother family. It's just the bonds, the teammates, everything. My coaches, it means a lot to me, and I'm ready to make a run, and I believe that our team can make a run, and I feel like we have the tools and the pieces to do it. So.
202 yards, 3 touchdowns en route to a district championship is why Jace Campos is your Athlete of the Week.
And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Crossroads Football Live, where we will have all the highlights from tonight and tomorrow. Should be an exciting one. Only 2 more weeks for Crossroads Football Live, including
it's
this
gone
one.
by already?
I know.
Chilly football tomorrow night.
Yeah, chilly and wet, right?
Yeah.
Yes, very wet and very chilly. So I think everybody needs to go to the game and bundle up, all right?
That's right. All righty, well, stay with us. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather, plus a couple in the Crossroads are finalists for a Texas Farm Bureau Award.
are finalists for a state award from the Texas Farm Bureau. Cassidy and Haley Hayes are in contention for the Outstanding Young Farmer and Rancher Award. They grow corn, cotton, soybeans, and raise show pigs and steers for 4-H and FFA students to exhibit at local, state, and national shows. Cassidy judges livestock shows across the nation. Haley is an AgriLife Extension agent in Calhoun County. The state winner will be named next month in Frisco. There are celebrations after a tentative deal was reached between SAG-AFTRA and major TV and movie studios, putting an end to 118 days of striking. SAG-AFTRA told its members the contract is valued at over $1 billion and includes above-pattern minimum compensation increases, unprecedented provisions for consent and compensation that will protect members from the threat of AI, and for the first time establishes a streaming participation bonus. All right, and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers released a statement Wednesday night saying the organization was pleased to have reached a tentative deal. Further details of the agreement will come out Friday once the deal goes to the SAG-AFTRA National Board for review and consideration. You know they'll sign it. You'll know.
Oh, and they're very happy about it because they finally got what they wanted, you know.
Yeah.
And now
the
new
thing
content will come out. So
lots of movies are in the pipeline that aren't moving.
Of course,
but
$1 billion.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
But, you know, and we want nice weather, but and a little cooler temperatures. It is November.
It's going to feel like November this weekend. All right, how about that? The front comes in within the hour or so, folks. You'll feel the north wind by the morning. It'll be rather breezy and only 62 as a high temperature, and we'll be in the 60s. It'll be wet and cold, and we'll be on the couch having chocolate and watching movies all weekend long, because I don't expect to see the sunshine until next Tuesday. So think about that over the weekend.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac. And wrapping up tonight, a Picasso masterpiece depicting the artist's young mistress sold for more than $139 million on Wednesday. The piece is now the second most valuable work by Picasso ever sold at an auction. The 1932 oil painting took center stage, and it depicts Picasso's lover and golden muse, who was featured in many of his portraits. Picasso's mistress would go on to become the inspiration for some of his most sought-after canvases, drawings, and sculptures. Ooh, that's a little scandalous.
But don't you think maybe she was afraid of getting framed?
Well, she was kind of homey, if you ask me.
Wow.
Scandalous story tonight.
Gee, Picasso, you had a different taste.
Well, that's for sure.
Very abstract taste. Huh. Alrighty, well, you guys, thank you, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astroin and meteorologist Parker Cox for 25 News Now. Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, and watch out for that cold front coming in.